I'm on page 94 of the exercise book. We're still working with systems of equations, but this time they want us to use the substitution method to solve these problems. So looking at number 1, which of these systems of linear equations has no solutions? Oh boy. The only way that I know of to solve this is to actually solve it. So let's see what we can do here with option A. We have 4x plus 2y is 5, and then 2x plus y is 3. So I'm going to solve the second equation by moving the 2x over. So I'm left with y equals 2x negative plus 3. And then I will substitute this equation into the other equation. So 4x plus 2 times y equals 5. And I'll distribute that 2 to both terms. So negative 4x plus 5. And then I'm left with 4x. Oh, we lucked up here. I was going to say, if I have to do all of these. So we're left with 0x equals 0, because if you move this 5 over, you would get a 0. Here's the problem. In math, you cannot divide by a 0. That breaks a rule of math that I won't go into. But this is called a situation that is undefined when you're trying to divide by 0. And if you want to see how this works on a calculator, just put in a number divided by 0. Put in 0 divided by 0, and you will get an error because that is breaking a math rule. So that's the answer. This one has no solutions because that first situation is undefined. I am not going to take the time to work all of these, but if you did work them, you should get a solution. You will not get an undefined error. So again, I know that this one has no solutions because I'm trying to divide by a 0. All right, number 12. This is more what I'm looking for. Which ordered pair is the solution to the system below? So we have x minus 4y equals 1. We have 3x minus y equals 3. And I think I'll just solve the bottom equation. It's handy. So let's take 3x off each side. So we're left with no x terms over here. So we have y equals negative 3x plus 3. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. So let's divide all of the terms by negative 1. And I'm left with y equals 3x minus 3. Then I'll bring in that first equation and substitute this y term in there. And let me just highlight that so you can follow what I'm doing. We're saying that y is the same as 3x minus 3. So in this equation for the y, I'm substituting that binomial. Then you have to distribute your negative 4. So you'll get a negative 12x plus 12. So x minus 12 is 1. Negative 11x equals, move the 12, negative 11. Divide by negative 11. and you will end up with an X being a 1. So I like option D for this one because it is the only point in which the X value is a 1. Okay. If you want to prove the Y value, you can just take one of your equations and substitute in the 1 for the X, minus 1 from both sides. So you're left with negative 4y equals 0. Divide by negative 4, and so y is 0. So that confirms that D is the answer. X is 1 and y is 0. But in this case, that step was unnecessary because we only had one point that was compatible with X equals 1. Okay, number 13. Diana and Megan are saving money in bank accounts. Diana starts with $100 and saves $4.50 per week, while Megan starts with $20 and saves $12.50 per week. After how many weeks will the two bank balances be equal, and how much money will be in each account? So the first thing we need to do is first we need to write the equations. So Diana equals 450 times the number of weeks plus her beginning amount was 100. So I'm going to say Diana equals 450 times weeks plus 100. And then Megan is 1250 times the number of weeks. And she started with 20. So Megan's amount will be 1250W plus 20. And then to see when they will be equal, we just need to set the equations equal. So 450W plus 100 equals 1250W plus 20. So I'm just putting those two equations equal to each other. And then I will move the 450 over here to the 1250 and cancel here. So I'm left with 100 equals 8W plus 20. Move the 20 over here and cancel. So I'm left with 8W equals 80. Divide both sides by 8. So at 10 weeks, the two accounts are equal. So I suspect the answer is B, but let's check the Y value just to be sure. So I'm going to pick one of my equations. I'll just use Megan. It doesn't matter. You can use Megan or Diana. So Megan is 1250W plus 20. So Megan is 1250 times 10 plus 20. So this is 125 plus 20 equals $145. So that is confirmed that B is the answer. When weeks are 10, the output is 145. Okay, number 14. Playworld charges $29.95 for admission and $1.15 per ride. Funland charges $19.95 for admission and $1.25 for a ride. At how many rides is the price the same, and what is that price? So Play World is $1.15 per ride plus $25.95 for admission. And then Funland is $19.95 for admission and $1.25 per ride. So there are my two equations. If I set them equal to each other, that will tell us when the two are the same. 12 plus 19.95. So I'm going to move the 115 and cancel. So I'm left with $25.95 on this side, and we have a difference of 10 cents per ride on this side, and $19.95 is still over there. So let's move the $19.95 over here and cancel. So I'm left with 15 minus 9 looks like 6, or $6 you could say, equals 10 cents a ride. Divide both sides by 10 cents. And so when the rides are 60, we have a situation where the two scenarios are equal in price. So I like answer E, but let me check that just to see that the Y value is correct. So pick one of your formulas. I'm going to pick Play World. It doesn't matter. But I said that that was $1.15. Let's multiply that times 60 and add the admission price. So 115 times 60. I have no idea. $69 plus $25.95. And that is going to be $94.95, which is in fact what we were looking for. So those two values are equal at 60 rides. In number 15, what is the solution to the system of linear equations below? And remember, they're wanting me to use the substitution method. So I'm going to take this second equation that is in standard form, and I'm going to solve it for y. So I'll move the x and cancel, and I'm left with 3/4 y equals negative x plus 0. I will multiply both sides of the equation by 4/3. So the fractions cancel, and then I have to distribute 4/3. So I would have negative 4/3 x plus 0. So y equals negative 4/3 x. And then once you get that value, let's substitute that into the second equation, which was 6x minus a half y. And remember, for y, we're just going to use the negative 4/3 x equals 10. So I have 6x. I'm multiplying two negatives. That will give me a positive. On top I have 4, and on the bottom I have 6. And that would be with an x equals 10. So I'll combine my x terms to get 6 and 4 sixths x equals 10. Divide by that mixed number. Let your calculator do the work. Don't get excited. Fractions are just numbers. So we'll say 10 divided by 6 and 4 and 6 equals 1.5, which can also be written as 1.5. So I have my eye on C, but let's make sure that it fits. I'm going to use the second one because it's a little bit easier to work with. They both have fractions in them, but fractions are just numbers. No need to get excited. And we're going to substitute the 1.5 for the x plus the 3/4 y. Move the 1.5 over to the constant side. And so you're left with 3/4 y equals negative 1.5. Let the calculator divide both sides by 3/4, and you will have your y value. So negative 1.5 times 3/4, negative 1.5 divided by 3/4. And I typed it in wrong when I was doing it, so I had to start over. Alright, so this is negative 2, and so that confirms that my answer is indeed C. These are not easy problems. Okay, I'll stop this video and I'll see you in just a second for page 95.